There's a number of reasons why I personally do not do the keto diet. And you'll notice that a lot of YouTubers are now making videos about why they quit the keto diet or why they're no longer using it. And I'm just going to address why I don't do it, because in the comment section, every time I make a video about something that I cooked or something that I ate, people, you gotta go keto, you do your research, it's the only human diet, that type of thing. Number one, the reason I don't join the keto community is because I don't really want to be part of any community. It's not that it's bad, it's good to feel part of a community. Everybody loves being part of a community. That's why we have a cycling community. That's why we have churches and synagogues and different places to go where you can feel that you're the same as someone else. But how I eat, I really don't feel as though I need to join a group of people that eat like-minded. It just, to me, it's not a thing I want to be part of. It. To me, it's not a community. It's just, what did I eat today? Let's join a community that eats the same way. It doesn't seem important to me. The second thing is that as far as keto, the majority of the reason why people are doing it, it's not to cure brain cancer, it's not to create autophagy, it's to lose weight. And I simply don't need to lose weight. I've been riding bikes all my life, I've been athletic all my life, and I have some decent genetics that allow me not to balloon up to 300 pounds. But I can empathize with people that are really, really heavy, because I have a lot of patients who are really, really heavy. And very often when they ask, well, how the hell do I lose weight? There's lots of options. Keto is one of them. And if you have a disrelationship with food, an emotional connection with food, it's difficult. And keto is just one method to lose weight. For some people, telling them to eat bacon and eggs and butter and steak and fatty coffee is appealing to them. Some people, it just makes them sick. And it's a good option to lose weight, because what it does is, the first thing is it makes you mindful of what you're eating. The second thing is it stops you from eating processed foods, which I think is the number one thing that all diets can pretty much agree on. So it doesn't matter what community you're part of. All of them essentially say the same thing. It's their little nuance of what they want to eat is what makes it different. So whether you go keto, carnivore, ketovore, people invent things. Vegan, vegetarian. I know veganism is not a diet. I get it. The only people that really care are the vegans. But the issue becomes that if you go keto, it's not that it's the superior diet, it's that you're not eating crappy foods anymore. So you give me a patient who eats breakfast that's cereal and maybe a McDonald's at lunch, and then has a frozen dinner at dinner time, and then snacks on potato chips. You put them on a diet where they're eating eggs, bacon, and steak and butter, they're going to lose weight, and they're going to be benefiting from that. But this guy doesn't need to lose weight. So what am I doing keto for? The second thing is that people do it because they have diabetes. And if you stop eating processed foods, if you stop eating all sugars, your body has no choice but to simply try to create gluconeogenesis, which is a fancy word of breaking down the fat, which is what you want when you're 300 pounds. So I don't want to be part of any community because I just have other things to do. I don't have to lose weight. The third reason why I don't do keto is because there are definite questions as to whether it really is the best way to go for some people. Some people's bodies respond really well to keto. In other words, their triglycerides go down, their blood glucose goes down, their insulin production goes down. Duh, you're not eating any carbohydrates. But other people don't do well, and I think what you're noticing on YouTube is that there's kind of been this rush of videos where people are stopping keto and they're explaining why. Now, I don't know if it's clickbait, I've watched a couple of them to get ideas of why are people quitting keto. And the answer is because they're starting to have symptoms from long-term keto. So any diet, once you follow it, it's going to produce benefit relative to what you were eating before. And then the long-term effects start to happen. So if you're getting nighttime cramps, if you're getting problems with your heart, these are issues a lot of times with electrolytes. And electrolytes usually are easiest to find through vegetables and fruit. But people won't eat vegetables and fruit because they're now 4-letter words. And after a period of time, they start having problems. This is the reason why many people that do carnivore diets and keto diets and things have to take extra electrolytes, because you have a diet where you're not supplying enough electrolytes. Well, I'd rather just eat foods that have electrolytes. Call it a day. As I personally ride a bike, I need electrolytes. Eating bacon and eggs and then riding my bike for 3 or 4 hours is not a good recipe for the health of my heart. So thus, I don't feel as though a keto diet would be the best thing for me personally. But if I never exercised and I didn't demand my body to need electrolytes or to need carbohydrates for energy, then in theory, I could just not exercise, do the keto diet, and still lose weight. The other thing is, the most researched diets are ones that are more balanced. There are extreme diets on both ends of the spectrum, but the one that's most researched, everybody always gravitates towards the middle. And there's a saying that the pendulum swings both ways, but eventually when it's at rest, it's in the middle. And that's very true for diet. There's a YouTuber, his name is Gil, and I think his YouTube is called Nutrition Made Simple. And he talks about this a lot, that if you eat some fruit, some vegetables, some protein, meaning chicken, fish, beef, pork, that type of thing, that's the healthiest way to go for most people. That's where most people lie. Now, if you have an extreme problem, you probably need an extreme solution. But if you're generally healthy and you want to maintain health, then there are diets for you. And the weird thing is, with most of these diets, it's really not a community. It's just, you eat healthy. You don't eat a lot of processed foods. The last reason why I don't do keto is for a very important reason. And this, if you've gotten this far, I just want to let you know that the reason your medical doctor probably does not support your goal in doing keto is because every doctor that went to school learned about ketosis. And when we hear the word keto, we think of ketosis. We don't think of a dietary program, because most people who are eating a lot of food, where they're not eating breakfast, but they're gorging at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and gorging at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and saying they're doing intermittent fasting and they're doing time-restricted eating and they're doing keto and stuff. All these things go over the heads of most doctors, because when we hear the word keto, we think of ketosis. And in every single medical textbook that's ever been written up to today has talked about ketosis as a disease. Ketosis is a state, a physiological state, where your body is producing ketones because it is breaking down fat as well as protein. Ketosis is what happens when you're starving. Ketosis is a catabolic metabolic process. It's catabolic physiology. It's considered not good. And so unless a doctor, your doctor, has gone online and realized that, the keto diet is really not ketosis, you're eating enough calories and hopefully enough protein to maintain your muscle mass, but you're not really in ketosis. Maybe your body, if you really are strict about it, you are starving and you are producing ketones. But most people that are on a keto diet are not producing ketones, maybe mildly. But ketosis is a metabolic condition that is what's called catabolic, which means your body is breaking down. It's not a good thing. In fact, if you really want to go on a keto process, get stuck on an island somewhere where there's no food. Wait 30 days. Your body will go into ketosis. And that's what doctors learned in school. That's what I learned in school. And so it's a little bit confusing, unless a doctor is knowledgeable, that you're eating bacon and eggs and steak and avocados, hopefully, or maybe you're doing dirty keto. You're going to McDonald's and just getting the cheeseburger without the bun. A lot of people do that. And you know what happens? They lose weight. But they lose weight because they're eating less calories. They're eating less food. So this is the reason why I do not do the keto diet myself. However, for some patients, if they ask, how do you lose weight? I let them know all the different options. Keto diet is one of them. But I don't make it a religious experience. I don't make them feel as though they have to join a group. I don't think that it's in the best interest long term, but short term it might be a solution for them. Because what I've found in my practice is that once a person goes on a keto diet and they do lose weight, they don't stay on it for too long because their body starts to have other problems and they eventually have to find somewhere where there's the center. Like I said, the pendulum swings both ways and eventually it always ends up somewhere in the middle.